This video is a review of the last quiz for the review for the final exam. In this question, there is a ranger who spots a forest fire while he's on a 60-meter tower at an angle depression of 23 degrees. So you're going to put that 23 down here. To the nearest mirror, how far is the fire from the base of the tower? You want to find x. You're going to be looking from the 23-degree angle. Across from it is its opposite. The x is the adjacent. So we're going to use TOA. We're going to say the tangent of 23 degrees equals the opposite, 60, over x, the adjacent. And then in our calculator, I'm going to put 60 divided by the tangent of 23 degrees and get the answer. Okay, to do that on my calculator, I make sure my mode is in degrees, and I'm going to do 60 divided by tan 23, and I see it's 141.35. So x equals 141.35. It says to the nearest meter, so that would be 141 meters. And on the final exam, if this is a question, you're gonna write a sentence here for your answer. Moving on to the next question. The area of a playground is 304 yards. The width of the playground is 3 yards longer than the length. So this is the length, this is the width. The width is 3 yards longer than the length. It says find the length and width of the playground. Well, we know area equals length times width. So that 304 is the area. That's going to equal the length, L, times the width. But instead of putting W, we're going to put 3 plus L. Now when we distribute the L, we have to solve this. So we want to distribute the L. So we're going to get 304 equals 3L plus L squared. Next, it's a quadratic, so we're going to put it in standard form. That means I'm going to move the 304 over by subtraction. Next thing I need to do is find two numbers that multiply to be negative 304 and add up to be 3 at the same time. Now, I'm thinking, well, 304 is a big number and the separation is only by 3, so let's try 17 times 17. Even though they're not separated, that's 289. So I need something around that's divisible into 304 that's around 17. So let's try 18. That doesn't go in. So 304 divided by 19. That goes in 16 times, and it is a difference of 3 if I make 16 negative. Okay, now remember, the answer to the question is the opposite of these numbers, so L is going to equal negative 19 or positive 16. Because it's a length, we're going with the positive 16. And let me just figure out our width by adding 3 to the length value, and that's 19. And you can see that it's the other number in the chart. So to check it, I'm just going to go 16 times 19, and that comes out to be 304. So that checks. And then I'm going to write my answer as a sentence. The length is 16 yards, and the width is 19 yards. Okay, so you're going to write that on the sentence. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Again, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause. This is the area of a rectangle, of a triangle. So area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. In this case, the area, 38, is equal to 1/2 base times the height. This turns into 1/2 x squared. Now it is a quadratic, but you can solve it because there's no other terms with it. You can solve it quickly by multiplying both sides by 2, and you get 60, 76. X squared equals 76, and then my answer is going to be the square root of 76. The square root of x squared is x. And I'll go to the calculator and see. Let's make sure. Let me check my math first. 2 times 38 is 76. Second square root of 76 is 8.717. Okay, and does it say to round to the nearest tenth? The tenth place is here, so that would be 8.7. Any units marked, it's inches. Okay, so 8.7 inches is the value of x. Okay, this would be a Finney 5 question. Since you rounded, it'd be hard to check this one, but you need to show enough work and state your answer here. Next question, graph this. Okay, you have to realize that this is y equals negative x squared minus x minus 1. And you should know that this is a parabola, and it's a frown-faced parabola. But because it's an inequality, we're going to either shade above or below. And in this case, it's less than. So we're going to shade below the parabola. So our answer should be a solid line. Solid because of the solid because of the greater than or less than or equal to sign, so that makes it solid, that equal to sign, and we're going to shade below, so it's going to be inside the parabola. So, well, I have to graph the parabola. Well, I need the axis, which you need to know throughout this test, and the axis is equal to x equals the negation of b over 2 times the a value. In this case, a is -1, b is -1. So 2a is going to be -2. So the negation of b, minus 1 over -2. A lot of minus signs here, but that's okay. So the negation of this is going to be -0.5. All right, that's a tough number to graph, but we're going to graph numbers around that. I'll try to make numbers on the final exam a little bit more compatible, so they're not so difficult. But we need to center around -0.5. So let's go up to 0 and 1, and let's go down to -1 and -2. Now we need to square x first. I always say square x first. Just makes it easier. 1, 0. We're not gonna do the axis because it's gonna come out to be a decimal. So let's skip that. 1 and 4. Now, excuse me. What we really need is -x squared because we need to graph -x squared minus x minus 1. We need -x squared. We need minus x, and we need minus 1. So we're going to negate all these x values. Then we're going to multiply the x value by negative, so -1, 0. Not going to worry about the axis at this point. And 1 and 2. So we're just doing these numbers here to get these numbers here. And then we're going to add -1 to all those. So my y value is going to be adding up the three things I need. -3, -1, -1. Again, my axis is here. And 2, -2, and 1 is -3. So it checks out because these all correspond around that. So now it's just a matter of graphing. And what are you going to graph? I'm going to take the time to write 1, -3. Take the time. 0, -1. Your axis is going to be in the middle of that. Again, that's going to be an estimated value. -1, -1, and -2, -1. Okay, so we're going to graph those values. 1, -3, over 1, down 1, 2, 3. 0, -1 in here. -1, -1. 1, negative 1's right there. Okay, that looks a little scary, but let's hold on, see what's going. Negative 2, negative, oops, what that was. Negative 2, that's not negative 1, this should be negative 3, sorry. Too fast. Negative 2, negative 3. So negative 2, negative 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I can kind of see my parabola taking shape here. Remember, my axis was 0.5, negative 0.5. So that's going to be right there. So my parabola is right in here. And then we're going to shade below the parabola. And that's going to be our solution. Okay, and this is the graph of f of x equals, is less than or equal to negative x squared minus x minus 1. Okay, moving on to the next one, 44 is a similar question, but now we're graphing lines instead. We're going to graph y equals x plus 4, and we're going to graph 2x plus y equals 4. Now, for the first one, it's a solid line, and the shading is below. I'm going to shade below. The second one is solid, but I'm not sure about the shading. I'm going to have to test a point to figure out the shading. So let me graph the first one. I have y equals x plus 4. You can graph it with a chart. You can just go x and y. X is 1, y is 1 plus 4 is 5. X is 2, 1 plus 4 is, or 2 plus 4 is 6. X is 0. You can get a 4. And you can graph it that way. 1, 5. 1, 5, 2, 6, 2, 6, 0, 4. And I have my graph, and I know it's a solid line. So I'm going to put a solid line through it. Put arrowheads at the end of it. And shade, I know my shading's below. I know my shading's going to go this way once I get my other graph on there. Now I'm going to graph the other one. I'm going to graph the other one a little bit different. 2x plus y equals 4. We're going to put in a 0 for x. And you can see when you put a 0 in for x, y equals 4. Okay, well, what happens when you put a 0 in for y now? What happens for 0 for y? Now, kids like to say, well, x equals 4 too. But no, you got to divide by 2 to get x, and that's going to be a 2. So let's graph 0, 4. 0, 4 is here, and 2, 0. 1, 2, 0 is here. So you can see that the other line is going to go this way. And that shading, I'm not sure about that shading, because the shading is 2x plus y is less than or equal to negative 4. So I'm going to test 0, 0 in here. It's 0 plus 0 less than 4. It's 0 less than or equal to negative 4. Sorry, negative 4. And that's a false statement. So I'm going to shade away from negative 4. So I'm going to shade away, not shade away from negative, I'm sorry. Shade away from 0, comma 0. So on this line here, I'm going to shade this way. So that tells me that if I'm shading this way with this line, and I'm shading this way with this line, my solution is going to be where they cross, which is in there. The next question is similar. I'm going to quickly graph it by y equals mx plus b. So the slope here is negative 1. The y-intercept, the b value is negative 1. So I'm going to start at negative 1 and go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. That gives me a line like that. The shading is less than, so it's going to shade down here. I'm not sure where the other one's going to be, so I'll do that temporarily. The other slope is 2, and its intercept is 4. So I'm going to go to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and do a slope of 2, which is up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So we get this line here, and that shading is above. So that's going to be this way. So if that's above, and this is below, my solution is in here for the two lines. And yes, label the graphs. This graph here is y is less than or equal to negative x minus 1, and this graph here is y is greater than or equal to 2x plus 4. Okay, put your arrowheads on the end, label your x, y axes, label a few numbers, and for time purposes I can label that on the last one. Okay, moving to 47. This is a quick question. When there's 3, make a tree. The last shall be first. So my tree is negative, or t is negative 24 to add up to negative 2. That sounds like it's 4 and 6, and the 6 has to be negative. So I'm going to have x plus 4, x minus 6. And then the other tree is going to be negative 36, adds up to negative 5. That's 9 and 4. 9's got to be negative, so x minus 9, x plus 4. And you can see that these cancel, so their final answer is x minus 6 over x minus 9. The final answer. And you have to show work for these on the final exam. 48. This is a familiar question. We're gonna find out the side by dividing one side of the triangle into a rectangle into the area of the rectangle. Now you have to go through this and systematically be careful. I'm looking at this x. How do I make it to be x cubed? I multiply by x squared. Then multiply both things by that. I come down, I have x cubed minus 2x squared. Now be careful. Draw a line, change the signs, combine. So this is going to be 0. This is going to be 3x squared minus 7x plus 2. Now I do the same thing again. Look at the first number and the first term there in each one. And I have to multiply this by 3x. 3x times x is 3x squared minus 6x. It's that there. Draw a line, change the signs. Don't forget to change signs. Combine. I get negative x plus 2. Now this is good because negative x, to get a negative x from an x, I multiply by negative 1. And when I do that, I get negative x plus 2, remainder 0. So now be careful, label your answer here. It's asking for the side, or the length. The length is, let me go back to our answer, x squared plus 3x minus 1 meters. In order to get full credit, please write out your answers. Moving on to the next question. The sum of two numbers is 88. Well, x is the first number. Y is the second number. The sum, x plus y, is 88. The difference is 28. We have to solve this. You can solve it by elimination by just adding these together. X plus x is 2x. Y plus negative y is 0. And that's going to equal 116, right? 116. Okay, we still have to find out what x is by dividing by 2. And we're going to get x equals, what's my math on this? Is it 58? Looks like it's 58. 58. Well, I'm not sure if it's right, but let's keep going. So, because I didn't use my calculator, but x equals 58. Well, if x equals 58, x plus y, and x plus y equals 88, so if I put that 58 in here, my y value has to be 30 in order to get my answer. How do I know that? I could subtract 58 from both sides, and I get y equals 30. Well, let's see if it checks. Is 58, well, we know 58 plus 30 is 88. Is 58 minus 30 28? And yes, it does check. You still have to write your answers out. The numbers are what are my numbers? 58 and 30. Okay. Moving along to the last couple of questions. I'm going to finish these quick. This question here is the same question we've seen before. The probability of hitting the unshaded region, that's the white region here. So that's the large region area, which is 2x plus 5 times x plus 5, minus, that's the area of the large region, minus the area of the small region, which would be x plus 5, x plus 3. It's since it's a probability, what's the probability? We need to put the whole region, which is the 2x plus 5, over x plus 5. Okay, we can cancel, since there's an x plus 5 in each one, we can cancel that out. Your next step is to distribute this negative sign. So now we're going to have 2x plus 5 minus x minus 3. Be careful, all over 2x plus 5. Now people want to cancel that, but you can't. You have to do the math on top first. So it's 2x minus x plus 5 minus 3 all over 2x plus 5. And 2x minus x is x, 5 minus 3 is 2, and your final answer will be this. But you have to show the work on it. Okay, that's the probability. Moving on to 51. This is a tough question, but it can be done. These two need to be combined first, so the x minus 4 here needs an x plus 4. So that means this x needs an x plus 4. Getting a common denominator in order to add them. The 6 over x plus 4, it needs an x minus 4. Okay, and then we're gonna keep, change, flip. Let's leave this for now. Keep, change, flip. And okay, well, what does that mean? Let's see. So this here is going to turn into x squared plus x plus 6x minus 24 all over. Well, this times this is really x squared. If I do a little table and multiply x minus 4, x plus 4, I'm going to get x squared minus 4x plus 4x minus 16. So this turns into x minus 16. Over here, I can factor this. I take a 2 out, and that turns into x squared minus 16. That's nice. Okay, but we got to keep going here. So this here, we need to combine like terms. And you'll also see at the same time this will cancel with this, which makes life easy. So I got x squared. Okay, I got to take care of that. X plus 6x is 7x minus 24. But we got to multiply the answer by 2 over 3. So that's my final answer. This is a final answer. I can distribute the 2 and get 2x squared plus 14x times 42 minus 84 and divide that by 3. That's an answer also. Okay, so that's a little bit tricky question. You might want to rewind the video and follow the steps. You should be able to do this without looking. That's a good way to figure it out. Okay, the next question is just wants the area of the shaded region. Again, this is the large region, the area of the large region minus the area of the small region. Well, the area of the large region would be base times height, 2x plus 2 times 3x minus 4. And the area of the other region, the small region, would be x minus 3 times x minus 6. Now this one you have to multiply out. I would make a chart for this one, 2x plus 2, 3x minus 4, and make a chart for this one, 6, or you can FOIL, whatever you're comfortable with. This is going to be 6x squared plus 6x, negative 8x, negative 8. I think I'm doing this right. I'm doing it very quickly. This times this is x squared, negative 6x. This times this is negative 3x. Negative 3 times that is negative 18. Or positive 18, sorry. So now I need to combine the diagonals. So I'm going to get 6x squared minus 2x minus 8. And that's the large area, minus the small area, which is going to be x squared. This and this is negative 9x. If I did that right, I think I did. Plus 18. Okay, almost done. Last thing you need to do is distribute this negative, because we're subtracting the whole thing. That'll make us 6x squared But let's combine this and this minus x squared. Okay, so compare that. Negative 2x minus negative 9x would be plus 9x. And then the last one, compare that. Negative 8 minus 18, which would be negative 8 minus a negative 18, or sorry, minus an 18. So now I combine. This and this is 5x squared. This and this is 7x. And this is negative 26. I believe that is the correct answer. I kind of did it fast. So God bless you. I hope you do well. Please study. Please know how to do this. And have a nice day. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.